Thank you.
All right, welcome in, welcome in. Sports Heroic Podcast. It's been almost a week. We're supposed to be on yesterday. Sorry about that. I was coaching Special Olympics yesterday, and I was just beat. Appreciate you, Jesse, for switching your schedule around.
Of
I'm
course.
Chris. That is Jesse. Lot to talk about. Some
Yep.
good games, and looks like some classic '90s basketball going on here in the playoffs. A lot of physicality. A lot of guys getting into it. You like that? I like that. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely been pretty cool. Um, Knicks, yeah, Knicks, Piston series, super physical. I think the Lakers, um, Grizzlies, they're not Grizzlies, Jesus, Wolves. That
Yeah.
series has been super physical too. OKC series was kind of physical, but I mean, yeah, all of them seem to be they're kind of they're letting them play for the most part.
They are, especially that Detroit game. I mean, that foul's got to be called, right? At the end of the game.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, God, that sucks for the Pistons because they had them on the ropes there, and it was
yeah.
physical all game. I get that it was going both ways, but you got to call that foul. It's a clear foul.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between letting them play, like pushing and shoving and stuff like that, and a clear foul on a shooting play. So
Yeah,
definitely think
that
that's
allowed
something
the
you need to
Knicks to
call.
go up 3-1.
Yep.
Think the Pistons have a chance going back to New York, or you think they're done?
I think they always have a chance. I mean, the games have been close. It's not like,
Yeah, yeah, they have.
you know, like the Pistons aren't getting blown out, but they're not winning convincingly either. So it's
Yeah.
kind of bad news for the Knicks considering, how star-studded their roster is and
Hmm.
they're barely getting by against the Pistons. So it's like, are the Pistons that good, or um is New York just that bad?
I think the main thing with the Knicks is, Towns actually showed up. First few games he's been kind of absent. And it's been
Yeah.
a lot of Jalen Brunson and a lot of supporting cast. OG, Hart, Bridges, and
Yep.
now they locked him down when they needed to in the fourth, and then won 94-93. Cade Cunningham a triple double. That guy is he's on the verge of being a superstar. Cade Cunningham.
He's not playing as bad as I thought, man. The bright lights are kind of he's I don't think he's really worried about it anymore.
No, no. We'll see. Is this his third year?
Or yeah, I think so.
That's pretty crazy. Cade Cunningham, he's fun to watch too. He's kind of took that Pistons team to garbage to relevance now. They have been bad for years. A lot of their draft picks haven't panned out, over the few years, but
Yep.
their last few have been pretty good. Cade Cunningham, what Jalen Duran was another one. He's a good draft pick. Thompson, he's been
Yep.
decent draft pick. And, you couple them around Tobias Harris and Hardaway, it makes for a pretty good, starting five.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like I mean, they kind of took the same approach as the Lions, where they got a new ho head coach that's just like we're gonna beat the fuck out of everybody, and in the process,
Yeah.
we're gonna get stronger ourselves, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
that's how they play. I mean, watching both of those two teams, I'm a huge Lions fan, and yeah, just watching the Pistons play is a lot like watching how the Lions, started their whole run a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Or as soon as they got Dan Campbell, I think they went like 5-9, something like that, or only won a couple games, But they had that kind of like,
Hmm.
we'll keep taking it and dishing it out sort of mentality. That's exactly what the Pistons have.
Yeah.
And so I think them actually getting playoff experience and realizing, oh wait, it's the same teams we play in the regular season. Only now there's a little bit more focus on it, but the game
Yep.
is the same. It's going to be a little bit more physical, which favors us because they kind of have some divas.
Yeah.
But you
Definitely.
know,
You kind of tell that they're ready for a breakout. Some of these picks
yeah,
finally had to pan out after years and
yeah,
years of I think Jaden Ivey's still decent for them. I know he doesn't really play much, but they were pretty high on Jaden Ivey. Uh, I don't even know if he's on
Yeah.
that team anymore. I'm not even sure. Is he hurt? I don't even see him. But Malik Beasley, that was a great pickup for them as well.
Yeah.
Good shooter off the bench. Dennis Schroeder was another good pickup for them. Veteran
Yeah.
point guard.
Yeah. Harris getting him from what was I believe what Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, yeah. I just think that, like I think we talked about this last week. I think just they need another guy with Cunningham, like a Kevin Durant type guy. Speaking of him, who could be
Honestly,
available.
yeah.
They need a guy like
The-
that to go with Cunningham to kind of show him the ropes of taking the next step because Cunningham's right there knocking at the door,
yeah. Oh yeah.
taking the
Yeah.
next step. I think he just needs someone like a veteran star to kind of show him the way.
I think he's where Jason Tatum was in like 20, I think it was 2018.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, I like that. Definitely.
That was the year. Yeah, that was the year that they had Kyrie Irving, right? It's basically him without Kyrie Irving sort of thing, where it's like you know, you have this franchise that was pretty good for a while, and now they're kind of not, but they're starting to get good again.
Yeah,
And like you're one of the main guys. I feel like, Tobias Harris is kind of his Jalen Green in that whole process, even though Tobias Harris is, obviously been around longer than that,
yeah,
than or Jalen Brown, sorry. Um, but yeah, I think the comparisons are kind of there. It's just he does need a little bit more around him because
yep,
the I don't think the players around them are where the Celtics in that comparison were back then, where you could already
yeah,
see that potential, and there was that veteran leadership. They don't really have that right now.
yeah. Because you
So
see the
I think they're
Celtics. They got
honestly,
Al Horford. They got Pritchard's a good
yep,
leader. They got Al Horford. Even
yeah.
White's a good leader too.
hmm
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. I agree with that as well.
but I think Bickerstaff is very good coach. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a talented team, but for them to actually develop an identity and attitude, kind of a persona, a life of, like the team has kind of a life in and of itself, and to utilize that to win basketball games, and now you're putting New York's the third seed, right?
yeah, yep.
Yeah, so like you're giving it to the third seed, and you're not really making them look like the better team. They're limping through these games, it looks like.
51 win team, the Knicks. Yeah, and they kind of struggled, kind of last half or last part of the season. There, everyone thought they were
Yeah.
gonna maybe beat Boston out for a while there for that number two spot. But
Yeah, and like we were talking about last time and the time before, it's like New York really needed to win this series convincingly, and they're definitely
hmm
not doing that. So it shows they're in trouble the next round.
and the difference is from last year, they're all healthy. They're
Yeah,
healthy and limping through these playoffs against the Pistons. And yeah, I don't know if it shows are the Pistons that good of a team or are the Knicks just playing, but I think it's a combination of both. I think the Pistons are kind
yeah,
of, we're here. We just need this experience to get to that next level.
yeah,
We have a soon to be star in our team, and we're going to be here for the long haul.
yeah. I think they're playing up, and New York is playing down.
Yeah, yep, I agree with that.
And Detroit's good enough to where it's like New York's Detroit's good enough, and New York is not good enough to where if they're lazy, they can't just put it together and go on a run. And
hmm
it's like, yeah, that's who we've been. We just weren't executing correctly. Like I don't necessarily think that they have that sort of potential, and Detroit can't really counter that or put an end to that with their physicality. So it's like
Yeah,
the margin for error is not very big.
looking ahead for both these teams, they just don't have the all around depth like a Boston and Cleveland have.
No.
Looking at the Knicks bench, Mitchell Robinson, Cameron Payne's okay, but he only gets like 7 minutes a game. Miles McBride's playing 19 minutes, and they only had 5 bench points. So that is going to be a crucial thing going forward, especially in the playoffs. We
Yeah.
already talked about Detroit. I mean, Dennis Schroeder and Malik Beasley. That's pretty much all they have off the bench.
Yeah.
Boston, they can counter with pretty much anyone they want off the bench. Same
Yeah,
with Cleveland.
they have 8 dudes that can average 20. I mean,
Yeah, they really do.
realistically, it seems like it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you got Tatum, Porzingis can, Derek White can, Brown can, Tatum can. You've even seen Pritchard go off for 30, almost 40 some nights.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And they got Cornette's a decent player. He doesn't take a lot of shots, but he's a good 3-point shooter for that team.
yeah.
Or Cornet. How do you say it? Is it Cornet or Cornet? I don't know how you say that.
I'm not sure either, to be
Yeah,
honest
I
with
don't
you.
know. We all know who that
But
is.
yeah, but no, they have an extremely well balanced team. Everybody can shoot. Everybody can kind of play both sides of the ball pretty well. You don't really you have obviously the weaker defenders, but
Yeah.
they're still scrappy. They're still pretty good, and if they get into foul trouble, they can just call the next guy up, and he can do the same exact shit as
Mm-hmm.
the guy before him, and they
Yep.
just keep throwing dudes at you, or they have the capability to anyway.
And that is going to be a game 5 now tomorrow at New York. So we'll see how that one goes. That should be a pretty interesting finish to that series. See if the
Yeah,
Pistons can get this one here and bring it back to Detroit.
yeah. I'm really hoping they will put up, put up more of a fight.
Yeah,
But yeah,
the
the series says 4-1, but it doesn't. It's not as clean as a
no,
4-1
no, it's definitely not.
gentleman's sweep. It has been ugly.
Yeah, the 4-5 matchup has been. I said it before. I kind of underestimated the Pacers. What they're doing to the Bucks. I know Lillard
Yeah.
hasn't been healthy, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But they are destroying the Milwaukee Bucks. The Pacers are.
Yeah.
And Tyrese
Yeah, I
Halliburton
kind of.
he's in another dimension right now. He doesn't score a lot, doesn't need to, but another 17 point, 15 assist game for him. That's all he seems
Yep.
to do.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he's good enough and he's smart enough, and the team around him is good enough to where if he doesn't have it going and he can't really be the scoring point guard, he's just going to be the regular point guard.
Yeah, and
I mean,
I think last time we previewed the Pacers, we talked about their starting 5 scoring. How
mhm.
everyone had double figures. They did it again. Siakam at 12, Neesmith 14, Miles Turner 23, Nebhard 20, and Halliburton 17. They had 3 guys on the bench that or scored double figures.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a lot like my sons back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Where everybody in the starting lineup can go off at any time. And if one dude goes off, then it usually feeds the next guy, which feeds the next guy, and pretty soon you have an entire team that has 15 points out of the 8
Yeah,
dudes that they played
yeah.
that game. It's like, what the fuck are we supposed to do about that?
And this series has been all Giannis, help us. Giannis, keep us in this game. Giannis, do this. Giannis, do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I mean, he had 28 and 15, and
And he's
I think
averaging what,
last game,
35?
yeah, last time he had what 36 and 15, and they still lost. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Porter Jr. had 23, but they didn't play any defense again. Pacers put up 129,
I think
and
what isn't Giannis averaging like double digit in assists too?
let's see, he had 6 yesterday. He had 15 in game 1. Then he had 1,
Hmm.
7, 6, and 6. So it's pretty close. Pretty close. And he went 32, 36, 34, 37, 28 for points. I mean, I don't know
Good
what
God.
more he can do, you know?
Yeah. It's
And
a
now with the
1v5 out
news
there.
of Damian Lillard only played 6 minutes. He played, I think he played in game 2, or did he just come back in game 3? I can't remember.
Yeah,
But
I don't remember either at this point.
he is now out for the year. Tore his Achilles. And
Crazy.
I just feel bad for him. He came back from the blood clot, worked his way back, kind of worked harder than a lot of people thought he would come back. Pushed himself, and then second or third game tears his ACL. He's done.
Yeah, and he's such a, yeah, I mean, in terms of just clutch, like box office, big shots, playoff excitement. Like he's one of those dudes that just he that dude just epitomizes that. He's one of the best clutch players
Hmm.
ever. Has some of the most iconic, playoff shots or play-in shots or whatever, like of all time.
He's built for it.
Hitting a shot, waving bye-bye, Dame time, all that bullshit. Like
Yep, yep. The the
so
Dame time.
yeah, yeah. What he did to who was it? What he did to Houston,
Yeah.
I think is what it was. I think that's who it was.
Uh, he's
Was
done it to a
yeah, I
lot
don't
of people.
remember.
It seems like
Anyway,
he's done it a lot, hasn't he?
yeah, but yeah, I don't know, man. It blows. It really blows.
I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, they're pretty much done, right?
And it puts Giannis in a weird spot too, man, because they do have Lillard, so there's that potential. So he'd probably feel bad for leaving, but at the same time, man, Lillard's Achilles, man, he's not going to be back to his normal self for a season or two at least.
Achilles is almost worse than the ACL now. Seems like
Hmm.
you're out longer with Achilles now.
Yeah, so it's like how much is Giannis going to trust that, Dame can get back to his old self quicker than normal? Because
Yeah,
I don't think Giannis wants to have another, two losing seasons.
and Dame's gonna be
Like he wants to win
35 this
now.
summer, so
Yep.
it's not like he's
Yeah,
young.
he's no. And that yeah, this late into his career too. That's
Yeah.
uh, this might have been the best we're ever gonna kind of like the article I wrote earlier.
Yep.
He's one of those dudes, man. This playoff run might be the best that we're gonna see out of him for the rest of his career.
It kind of feels like
Unfortunately,
a Kobe Bryant thing, doesn't it? Where he tore
a
his
little bit.
Achilles kind of in his 30s there, and it's just that was kind of like the downward turn of his career.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. We talked week in and week out with that Bucks team. They're going to need a lot of work over the offseason, a lot of question marks. Does Giannis stay loyal? Does he want to stay? Who are they going to add for point guard now with Lillard out? They have, are they going to keep Kuzma? Kuzma's been underperforming, and it's like, I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to be a mess. They
I
keep
think
Doc
they're gonna
Rivers. That's
trade.
another thing. Do they keep Doc Rivers? Do they fire his ass or what?
Dude, I hope. I'm not a big Doc Rivers fan. Like, there's there's been too many memes that
Playoff
are
Doc?
absolutely true. Playoff
Playoff
Doc.
Doc?
Where they get swept in the first round, and it's like, yep,
Yep.
Doc's got those boys in playoff mode again. I'm like,
There it is.
Jesus.
Yep.
But they they're not gonna go anywhere with him, man. We've seen it in LA, we saw it in Philly, now we're seeing it in Milwaukee. It's like this dude hasn't won in almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Isn't
And
that
he's had
crazy?
good teams, man. He's had good teams.
That's
So,
crazy. Yeah, they'll play tomorrow with the Knicks as well. They'll be the first game, the 5 o'clock game in Indiana. Bucks have their backs to the walls, 3-1 Indiana.
yep,
So that'll be interesting. Then Celtics Magic play tomorrow at Boston. I'm sure that series will be over tomorrow. I'm sure
it'd
Boston
be
will
a
wrap that up. Tatum had a really good game, game four, like we probably predicted he would.
yeah.
And then over in the West, OKC just pretty much toyed with Memphis. Memphis kept it close in game four, but Shea, every time they needed a shot, Gilgeous Alexander did what he needed to do. Knocked
Yep.
down shot after shot after shot.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite part of that series was the jaw quote. It was like,
Oh,
yeah, they were lucky I got hurt in game two or three or whatever that was, and I just figured them out. I'm like, no, you didn't.
I'm sure they
No,
were
you didn't.
scared, right? They were really scared.
They didn't even. OKC didn't look like they were trying half the time.
Yeah. Especially game
Like it
one when
looked
they won
like
by what, 50?
it looked like they were bullshitting around, and then when Memphis was kind of getting it close, they'd be like, all right, cool, we got to try a little bit, but I'm not breaking a sweat out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're saving it for next round. Like they Not even joking either. They just look like they're dicking around, not really taking them seriously.
And they get the winner of
So
Clippers Denver, and that series is tied at 2. So OKC's looking at possibly at least a week rest here.
yeah,
I don't know if that's good or bad for them. I don't really know if they needed the rest. I mean, they barely played against Memphis.
yeah, yeah, and just again, it goes back to what we've talked about the last couple times too, man. Somebody needs to tell Ja he hasn't won shit. So this
Yep.
whole way overconfidence thing, like my team is the best team. They're not. They haven't been for the entire 4 or 5 years you've been in the league. So
Yeah.
let's just stop, dude.
And the thing with OKC, I think it's very intriguing that they start both Hartenstein and Holmgren. Isn't that weird? You don't see a lot of big lineups, in the NBA that big.
Yeah, but they can.
But it gets the job done. Like I said, for the
Yeah.
Knicks, that probably one of their biggest mistakes is letting Hartenstein walk.
Yep.
And like
I
for the
agree.
Grizzlies, Jaren Jackson's kind of underperformed. He's not rebounding very well, and not shooting very good percentage in
Yeah.
that series. But Desmond
I
Bain's a
think.
decent player, and shout out to Scottie Pippen Jr., Morant's backup,
Yeah.
30 and
Yep.
11.
Yep.
Good for him.
No,
I like to see that.
I think if they don't win, I think next year, if they don't at least get to Western Conference Finals, not that anybody is really taking it seriously or, scared of him anyway, but Ja, I think, is gonna lose a ton of credibility and a ton of uh weight to his words when he's talking his shit and he's saying how good they are. Because
Yeah,
they just got smoked by OKC, so clearly they weren't going anywhere this year. They weren't
yeah,
going to the finals.
yeah, and I think that's
So,
deserving too. That he should get criticized for what he says. And he's
yeah,
doing more. He's doing more of the gun stuff than playing and wanting to win.
yeah,
He just
yeah,
wants to see what gesture he's gonna do next.
yeah. It's like cool. Even if your team is that good, you are the leader of that team. So you need to take a look at yourself. You need to take a look at the other leaders of other teams and realize that there is a big, big difference between them and you.
Yeah.
How you
Yep.
conduct yourself, how you lead the team, everything inside and out.
Yep.
Like, cool, you can do all these crazy dunks and shit like that. Well, so can Braun. So can, half the fucking players in the league. Anthony Edwards, for example.
Yep.
But he's doing it the right way. He's talking that shit and bragging, but he's also backing it up.
He is. And Ja's not winning games. He's not being Mr. Clutch. They're just getting their ass kicked.
Yeah, and you're not making your team better as the leader of your team.
Yeah.
You're doing a bunch of extra stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. He's already had mediation for it. He's gone to get help for that. He's been suspended for it a couple times. I don't know if it's ever going to change. I really don't. I think that's just kind of how he is and how he acts.
Yep, I think so too.
I don't even know if a change of scenery will even help the guy. I think he'll just kind of act how he normally acts.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's only there's only so many times I can root for the guy before it's just show me something, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
take over like you were supposed to, man. You were supposed to be where Anthony Edwards is. Your team is supposed to be where his team is. You were supposed to be the new face of the league.
Yeah. Now the biggest question for Memphis is, anytime you go to their roster, what are people going to do? Is John Morant playing? Is he hurt? That's what
Yeah.
he's been most of his career. He's great when he plays, but he for how he talks, he should be better. But he's always injured too.
Yeah.
That's
So,
another thing with John Morant.
yeah, he's on the verge of being a superstar, but he just keeps digging himself deeper and deeper.
And I think Scottie Pippen Jr. is great for that system. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the scary thing because when Ja was hurt earlier in the year, Scottie Pippen Jr. had some really good games. I think he had a
Mm.
triple double one of the games too. He knows when to score, he knows when to be facilitator, and he plays pretty good defense.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you put both of them out on the floor and pretty
They could try it.
consistently and have Ja be the number two.
They could try it. Or would he
Who
have too much
knows?
of an ego? He'd have to be the point guard.
I think you do it for a year and kind of put him back in his place. And if he wants to be the leader of the team, then he can try harder
Yeah.
because it was already given to him. And
Mm-hmm.
look what's been going on. So
Yeah, the other Eastern Conference. Go back to the East real quick. Cavs are just both the one matchups in each conference is going to be a sweep. They're up 50 right now on the Heat. 119-69. I mean, it's just they're just that good of teams, Thunder and Cavs. That, I mean, kind of figured they were going to sweep there.
yeah, I didn't think
Um,
it'd be that bad, but yeah, Cavs are good.
yeah. And back to the West. I know what series you want to talk about, right? Let's
No,
go Nuggets Clippers first.
okay,
That's been a great series.
yeah,
That's tied up 2-2 with the Nuggets getting that game-winning shot, and Cleveland had a shot, 34-16 in the fourth quarter. They outscored them. Now, looking at that putback sign, what do you think? Do you think it was still in his hands?
no,
Because I thought he got it off.
yeah. They showed I think it was on either ESPN or some type of it might have honestly been like a Twitter thread or something, but they showed another like slow-mo angle from like the kind of like this sort of situation, like pointed at an angle down at his hands. And it was the second the time expired, it was like this far out of his hands.
See,
So
that's
you
what it
could
looked like
clearly
to
see
me.
where his hands were and where the ball was. It was like this, but he got it off.
Yeah,
He
I
definitely
mean,
got it off.
I think we're in the minority there because everywhere I see, like Twitter and like NBA.com, like everybody's like saying it was still in his hands. And I keep looking at the video. I'm like, looks like it's out of his hands, like right when the red light went on.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah,
kind of show a
that's what I
straight
saw.
at it picture, which is a really good picture. You can see it out, and then the light goes on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what angle they're looking at, but I can see
Yeah,
why
but
they're frustrated. But don't get down by 18 going to the fourth, right?
yeah. Yeah, I don't
And
know. But
yeah, Kawhi's been good
it
in
looked
that
good to me.
series. Zubac's been
Yeah.
good in that series. Obviously, Jokic, 36 and 21. Holy crap!
That, that's
Jeez.
ridiculous, dude.
I mean, and they win by two. I mean, come on. What?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he does all of that. And I think he had double digit assists too. So
It's like,
he's
what the
accounting
hell?
for a third of their points by himself.
All their starters played over 40 minutes. Jokic 43, Porter 42, Gordon 43, Murray 42, Christian Braun 43. So we'll see how that goes going to the next game. See if they
Yep.
have the legs. And is that tomorrow? Let's see. That is tomorrow. 4 games tomorrow. So Magic Celtics play as well. That's in Boston, and then Clippers Nuggets. That's in Denver tomorrow. That'll be the 9 o'clock
Nice.
TNT game. Very
Okay.
intriguing because OKC probably wants it to go 7. They have longer layoff then. They have more rest.
Yeah. Yeah, they're chilling at this point.
They're just kind of sitting back, Oh yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Warriors Rockets. That's been a pretty much a Steph Curry. Well, he won it last game without Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler had the groin injury, I believe, from when he fell.
Yeah, Curry hit what, like 36 points or something like that?
Yeah, 36, 9 assists, 7 boards, and making Steph Curry like shots again. The pull
Yep.
up from like 38 feet. Like, oh, he's not going to
Yep.
make that. Oh, swish.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks impossible until he does it over and over again.
Then Buddy Hield and Gary Payton the second had double digits off the bench,
Yep.
which Buddy Hield's always been a good shooter. He hit 5 of 11 from three. That's kind of his
Yeah,
game,
he's been doing better.
and not much. Just kind of Curry and those two, and uh, they held Jalen Green. Jalen Green only took 11 shots, which kind of worries me because he's a volume shooter.
Yeah.
And like Thompson, Sengun, and Van Vliet all took more than him. They got a lot of guys that want the ball on that team.
Yeah, Jalen Green, I think, has 9 points in game one, like 38 in game two, and then like 7 points in game three, something like that.
Yeah, that's a pretty wide disparity there between games.
It's it's huge. It's like how have you only showed up for one game?
Yeah, and I mean he only had five. He led the team with 5 assists, which isn't great.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, they turned the ball over 14 times to Golden State's 9. Yeah, I don't know. Houston's gonna need Jalen Green to score in the 30s in order to have a chance, I think.
Yeah.
But I
That's
think
yeah, I
I
mean,
think Jimmy Butler's back now. I think he's playing the next game. So
I think
yeah,
Golden
Houston's
State
in
can wrap it up
trouble.
pretty quick. Yep.
Yeah, and they would play the winner of the Wolves Lakers series, which your
Yeah,
Lakers aren't
which
looking very good.
no, they're not. They're getting their asses kicked. It's kind of a bummer.
I don't think they were ready to see how physical Minnesota was. I don't think they were expecting that.
Not only did I not did I don't think that they were ready for that kind of physicality. I don't think they were ready for everybody else on the team besides Anthony Edwards to be making shots as well as
Yeah,
they have been.
it's pretty much been Naz Reid and Dante every once in a while from three. I mean, now you throw in
Yeah.
Jade McDaniels. Alexander Walker's hit some good shots in the early games. But Jade McDaniels had a great point in game one. He said when they take Jackson Hayes off the floor, he's practically the tallest player out there. He's just gonna attack,
Yeah.
attack, attack, and they have
Yep.
no rim presence.
Yep. Yep.
What do you
Yeah,
think
'cause they
about
can.
Reddick playing them the whole second half? Do you think that was a big deal or not? Not making a
Mm,
substitution.
yes and no. I mean, they didn't lose by a lot, so I don't think it was a horrible decision. They
Because they're
lost by
getting two
two.
days off in between now instead of one, so they get an extra day
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
But looking at the LeBron's post game, it didn't look like he was very happy with that. Like it's something he's probably addressed not to the media, probably closed door type thing. But he didn't
Yeah.
seem like he was very happy when he was asked about not taking a break. Maybe it's just me.
I th
He didn't look like he was very. He kind of
yeah.
hinted at it, like my body's rough shape, but he says it's coach's call, it's the playoffs or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like he was very happy about that though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also he could be either disappointed about the coach's decision or the fact that it was the right decision and they still lost.
Yeah,
So I think there's two different ways you look at it. Either he's looking at JJ Redick going, cool, thanks man, appreciate it. Now I'm all fucking tore up and so is the rest of the team.
hmm
Or he's looking at it going, that was the only play we had. Like that was our best five. So we're gonna give it our best effort for 2 quarters and see if we can pull together this series. And looking at it at the end, going, "Oh shit, that was literally the best we could throw at them, and still wasn't enough. That's not good."
for the Timberwolves' sake, this is
So,
going to be the hardest game for them to win. Closeout games always the hardest game to win, especially against
especially against
one Hall of Famer and one it will probably be a Hall of Famer.
yeah, LeBron's usually pretty damn good in game fives if it's like a closeout game. He's a problem.
and I hope they don't get the mentality, the foot off the gas mentality, and because let's say Lakers do win next game, they got all the momentum going back to the Target Center, and
Yeah.
just like the Wolves, they won in LA already.
Yeah.
I mean, Lakers can win any game of the series. They're capable of it.
Yeah. The thing is, yes, is as Memphis, you can't really show weaknesses. If you lose game 5 and you don't fix those issues immediately for game 6, man, that Lakers, like we're obviously looking at them going, yeah, it's playing physical. They weren't ready for. We've seen them play really, really well and be physical at the same time, and that offense is buzzing.
Yeah.
So Memphis has to be careful. They're gonna have to close them out in this next game because yeah, you can't let the Lakers come back, potentially drop a game 6, because LeBron is 6-2 all time in game 7s, whether it's playoffs, finals. He's 6-2,
Yeah.
and he's still him. So I mean,
The Wolves
yeah,
saw it
if
last year
I'm
with Luka too. The shots that
yeah
he can make
yeah
at any time of the game. So I
yeah
just think I do think the Wolves will lose Game 5, but I think it'll be close. But I just don't want them to have the wrong mentality going into. I believe it's Wednesday's game. I think they have tomorrow off. Yeah, they have tomorrow off. I just don't want them to get the. They tend to do that. The Lakers aren't a bad team, but they play down to bad teams. And when they have the momentum, the Wolves, it seems like they always take their foot off the gas and like just play soft and casual.
yeah yeah yeah. We'll
And
see.
you can't let that team back in it. You gotta stay on their throats, put them out.
Yeah yeah
I don't know if this last game broke them or not. I wouldn't think so with the mentality of LeBron and Luka, but you got to think about the other players on that team too. Did it break them?
I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna come out pissed off and play pissed off.
Might get out to a pretty big lead, kind of like game two.
I think so. Put a
So, what
lot
do you think
of.
about the officiating?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did think that last call was weird against LeBron though. Like even as a fan, yeah. eh, Like I
the
don't know. I'm
the
still.
trip.
I don't think. Nah. I don't think it was a foul against him. I think the ball went out of bounds off of Anthony
Oh,
Edwards.
um,
That play.
there's another good angle there. You can see him right on the wrist.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Damn.
So I
Okay.
initially agreed with the Lakers. Like, looked like he got
Yeah.
on hand, but there are views out there that you can see him right on the wrist.
Okay.
But the Luca one on McDaniels, the trip or whatever,
Yeah.
the NBA just came out an hour or two ago and said foul should have been called on McDaniels.
Yeah.
Um, because it says McDaniels stepped forward into Doncic's path, initiating illegal foot contact that causes him to lose his balance.
Yeah.
So that would have put them to the line down one with 35 and a half seconds to go.
Yeah.
Instead, you get an Edwards loose ball out of bounds, thinking Lakers got the ball. Well, then a challenge, and they overturn it, and then he's at the line. And they're
Yep.
3-point game. Which the Lakers
Yeah.
called a timeout there before the challenge. And that I think the NBA needs to change that because the Lakers called a timeout, and then the Wolves said, timeout, I want a challenge. They don't give the Lakers their timeout back. So they didn't have any timeouts on that last play, which I think
Mm.
the NBA needs to change that. If the other team challenges, you should get your timeout back. I think.
Yeah. Y- Yeah. In all fairness, like you don't know they're about to challenge it, so then you just
Yeah.
waste your timeout, and
Yep.
then they get extra time because of the review and the timeout. So yeah, that's a little.
And
I
people
don't
want to
know.
put that
Yeah,
on
that's
JJ
fair.
Redick. It's like that's not the coach's fault. How's he gonna know? I mean, yeah, you're thinking about maybe they'll challenge here, but how are you gonna think that? Oh, LeBron got him on the wrist and compared to the hand. How are you gonna know that?
Yeah. Oh, you're putting together an inbound play, so
Yeah, you call timeout because you're coming up with a play. All of a sudden, the other team calls timeout, and they get their timeout back because the Wolves won the challenge, so they don't lose the timeout. Meanwhile, the
yep.
Lakers are out now.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
I think that's a stupid rule for the NBA.
Kinda, yeah. I agree. I agree.
But I don't know. I thought it was a foul. I thought at first it was a clean block by LeBron, and
Yep.
I thought Luka just stepped on his foot, but both calls should have been overturned. One got overturned. The Luka one should have got overturned too.
Yep.
And they reviewed the LeBron one, so people are still kind of you know weird about that, but they did review it.
Yeah.
I don't know the game. The Wolves need to try to put them out here on Wednesday, but it's going to be tough. That last game.
Yep. Yep. See how good they are at closeout games.
Yeah, and Edwards isn't used to closeout games. The whole team's not. They haven't been in that situation a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we'll see.
we touched on Butler coming back. He'll be back for Game 4. Darius Garland didn't even play tonight, so that's how good Cleveland is.
Jesus.
Some of the awards we were looking at last week. Some of the awards are in now again.
Okay.
Steph Curry won Teammate of the Year, which I can't really
Okay.
argue with that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Um, Evan Mobley won Defensive Player of the Year over.
Yep.
We kind of thought he might have over Draymond.
Yeah.
Draymond was petitioning to win it again because he thinks he's great at everything.
He's pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Uh but Draymond got the Hustle Award. He won the Hustle Award. And we talked about Pritchard got Sixth Man, Brunson got Clutch Player. The
Yep.
finalists for Social Justice Award: Bam Adebayo, Harrison Barnes, C.J. McCollum, Chris Boucher, and Drew Holiday are the finalists.
Nice.
And I think they announced the other ones. I think next week, right? MVP and the All NBA teams.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah.
I think those are later on. Uh,
Yeah.
Anything else you want to touch on in the NBA?
Uh, I think that pretty much covers it.
What about in college? Oh, talk about your
Right.
players retiring. I read your article.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a
I was gonna say,
crazy.
yeah. I
That's
don't.
a crazy list of people that are going to be done pretty soon. That
Yeah.
if you actually think about it, it's like holy crap. Those are
Yeah.
like guys in
So,
our days, our younger days.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Recently, whoever's watching posted an article on Hardwood Heroics. Check it out about within the next 3 years, the landscape of the NBA is gonna look a hell of a lot different than it does currently right now. Because gotta imagine LeBron's gonna be retiring within 2, 3 years. Kevin Durant's slowly going to follow that. Steph Curry's going to follow that. So obviously, those are the three biggest ones.
Yep.
But then you forget about Chris Paul, probably Damian Lillard, Russell
Yep.
Westbrook. Let's see, Brooke Lopez, James Harden, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Aaron Gordon. Actually, come to think
Maybe
of it,
Brooke Lopez,
Brooke Lopez.
possibly.
So yeah, Al Horford,
Yeah.
PJ Washington, or PJ, yeah, PJ Washington, I think. But
I didn't think Udonis
yeah,
Haslam would
just
ever retire, and he finally did. What, last year,
yeah,
Haslam?
yeah, yeah,
He's
yep,
been on the end of the
exactly.
bench for like 8 years, never playing.
Yeah, but no, just was kind of thinking about it the other day, and I'm like, holy crap! Like we are getting to the end of that generation where all the stars we have now, like
Yep.
I'm really hoping they're gonna be good enough because I think it's interesting that the future of the league is in their hands, yet they're not the best. They're not better than the KDs, the Steph Currys, the
Yeah.
LeBrons.
Yeah. Isn't that
It's
crazy?
yeah, like I don't think just with the direction it's heading, we're gonna need, I think the better players than them are gonna be coming within the next couple years.
Yeah, I'm
Cause
excited to see what Wemby can do when he gets older
yeah,
because he's
yeah,
already really good. Edwards, excited to see what he's gonna
yeah,
do.
yeah,
Um, if John Morant can get his head on his shoulders, he could be one of those guys.
Yeah, like we like obviously we're just starting out with with some of these guys like Shea, Anthony Edwards,
Yeah,
Ja, Jalen Green, but just looking at them and remembering the older guys that are about
yeah.
to retire and how they started out, it's not looking good for the future of the NBA, to be honest with you.
If you look at the record books, you say, "Oh my God, those guys played in our time." Look at that, all those guys: Durant, LeBron, Curry,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, James Harden. He's top 10
Yep.
in assists. It's
Yep.
like all those guys. Like, holy crap, we were watching basketball when all those guys are up there.
Yeah. And the current star, I mean, you would imagine, right? Like the current stars are gonna get scrutinized by the older guys because the older guys are probably gonna go into retirement and start doing podcasts and shit like that. Like Draymond already does podcasts, and
Yeah,
I can guarantee you within the next couple of years, that's gonna be a topic of conversation all over again. It's gonna be the guys that just retired are shit talking the guys that are up and coming in the league or like the new stars in the league, and they're saying that the new stars aren't what the old guys were, but they're
yep,
gonna be right. That's the thing is we are seeing that the older guys, the dudes in their 30s to 40s, the old generation are still they're fucking everybody up still.
yep, yep.
So it's we're at a weird point where we don't have necessarily like football, for example. You had Tom Brady leaving, but he went against Patrick Mahomes
Hmm.
in one of
Yep,
his last few years. So we had an easy transition.
yeah,
And it just I don't really know too much about hockey to make a different comparison. Obviously, Ovechkin just, I know that much.
yeah,
But nobody necessarily saw that one coming. It's, oh, this dude is really good. He scores a lot. It
yeah.
wasn't until like 2, 3 years ago where you're looking at it going, this shit could actually happen.
Hmm.
But I'm not seeing any of those record-breaking dudes just from the eye test coming up right now.
Yeah. You see the good to greats, but not like the all time greats. In this era right now. Yeah, good, great players.
Yeah.
Maybe the exception of Jokic. He's probably
Oh,
at their
absolutely.
level right now, and Shea probably could. Edwards might. Wemby might, but you know their projection. It's hard to be as good as those guys that you listed in that article. It is goddamn hard to be as good as what James Harden did, what LeBron did, what Steph Curry did, what
Russell
Durant did.
Westbrook.
Yeah, to average a triple double, whole years. Even when
Yeah.
Jokic retires, the next wave after him, it's like so we saw 25 some years of really good players in this league.
Yeah, some of the best that we'll ever see. And it sucks because like we were saying, and when MJ and all those dudes were rolling out, you had Kobe, you had Shaq, you had Duncan, Hardaway, you had these guys, the Tracy McGrady's, you had those dudes already there. You could tell that they were going to be all-time greats.
Yeah,
And I'm just kind of looking around, and maybe it's I'm just a little jaded, and I prefer the older guys. Maybe that's how it starts. And then you end up like a Stephen A. Smith, where nobody's ever going to be better than so and so. But just looking around, man, I'm not seeing that consistency. I'm seeing spurts of greatness with large gaps in their game, but I'm not seeing a complete player like a LeBron James, like a Steph Curry, like a Kevin Durant.
and the
I'm not seeing that so far.
the popularity is down though still. In the last 5 6 years for ratings and stuff and attendance.
Until the opening round of this one, I was reading that today, up from like 17% last year.
It's because they went back to bully ball, which you
Yeah,
know it's not
yeah,
145 to 120 or 130. It's
yeah,
101 to 98 or 93, 91, and like it was a good game the whole game. It was
yeah,
intriguing, exciting.
yeah. There's still some threes, but yeah, a lot of interior defense. Some mid-range game, some drive fouls. It's it's a lot like the early 2000s, where it's kind
Where
of on the border of like old school, new school.
where do you think Anthony Edwards ranks for like positioning in this league? Do you think he is the guy in the NBA as of right now, or do you think it's still Shea? You think it's Wemby? Like, you think he's like a superstar right now at 23?
Yeah,
Yeah. You think he's
yeah,
like? You think he'll probably be more marketable than Wemby or more than Shea?
yeah, yes,
I think he
absolutely.
wants it more. I think he wants it more than them too.
He he wants it more, and he's just a likable dude, man. Like you saw him in the Olympics, for example. He straight up said, as you know, the superstar dude on his team, he immediately knew his role when he was around Steph, LeBron, and KD. He was like, "I'll be here when you need me, but yeah, I know my role. Like
Yeah.
I'm not about to fuck with these dudes." Like, so it's just really cool to see how competitive he is, but also the respect that he has for his favorite players.
Yep.
Like KD, for example, like KD was his favorite player. And he was even teasing him after the Olympics. They were talking
Yeah.
about his experience, and he's like, "Oh, I even saw KD play defense once." And KD was like, "What the fuck, dude?"
And
But
now, like with LeBron apparently kind of took him under his wing at the Olympics, and now he's kind of going at LeBron too. During the game.
yeah, yeah, and he's having a blast. But after the game, he was like, he's just so honest and genuine. He wasn't cocky. He wasn't talking shit. He was like, I was literally just trying to do my best because he's stronger than me. But
Yeah.
I told him I was just gonna be there. I was just gonna be trying.
Yep.
So I thought that was super cool. He wasn't talking shit. He wasn't like, yeah, busted his ass. None of that.
Yeah.
He's having fun playing at such a high level.
And that's what it's all about. Gotta have some fun out there. You have to.
Yeah. Yeah, so like him going at Luca, talking shit to Luca, like they were fucking around before the game even. Like,
Yeah, they were. Yep.
yeah, you saw that clip where Anthony Edwards was just messing with them and like, they were chill and
Yeah.
it's
He
hard
told
not
them
to like him.
they had all the good balls down at their end,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
Luca like gave him his and just starts laughing. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's just such a likable dude. Like he's fun to watch, obviously.
Yeah.
He plays with just, absolute fire, but he's just a likable guy. So yeah, I really hope that he is, the future face of the league because he definitely deserves it.
And this was a guy that says he didn't even like basketball when the Wolves drafted him. He said that he's like,
Hmm.
I don't even like basketball. And as an organization, like, oh wait, holy shit, we're taking this guy in top 5 pick, and he's telling us he doesn't even like basketball.
Yeah, 'cause he wants to be a football player.
Yeah, I think he probably could be like LeBron in his
Yeah.
prime. He could have been like a tight end.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he
for
has the
sure.
body for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cavs obviously wrapped up theirs. They won by 55, 138-83. That's
Good
without
God.
Darius Garland.
That's insane.
Yeah, so they'll wait for the Pacers Bucks matchup. Likely the Pacers. Pacers might give them a push. The Cavs. I mean, I don't see them winning the series, but I think that'd be a pretty good series.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it'd be competitive as hell for sure.
Because Miles Turner can match up with Mobley. It'd be Garland and Halliburton. That'll be a good matchup. Neesmith and them with uh, Spider. What the fuck's his name? Why do I always forget his name?
Donovan Mitchell.
God, I did this last week. Donovan Mitchell, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, like we're talking. I don't know if Indiana has the bench to compete with the Cavs. The Cavs can go 8 or 9 deep if they want to, and plus Garland, Mobley, and Mitchell can play high minutes too. They never run out of energy either.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So that'll be a fun matchup.
Yes.
Either if it's the Bucks, they're gonna get killed by the Cavs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely.
And then OKC's waiting for Denver. Rockets are just about to tip off here in about a minute at Golden State. We'll see how Butler does. I think he's still pretty injured, he said. But he's going to try to give it a go
Yep.
here. I think would he land on his
Yep.
tailbone or something on a dunk?
Landed on his, he landed on his hip pretty bad,
On his hip,
pretty hard.
yeah.
Yeah, real hard.
We'll see what the Rockets are made of. They got to steal a road game at some point here, or else they're going to be done.
I think that might be done, man. To be honest with you.
Just too young and not deep enough.
Yep.
And
Too
they don't
experienced.
have the second guy to go with Jalen Green. They have capable, good players. They do. Sengun's a great player, but they don't have Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry.
Yeah. Well, their Steph Curry is also only getting like, 9 points and 7 points a game with one good game thrown in there. So
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't. I mean, you can't go 30 and then
not
7 and
enough.
then 11 and
No.
then 9.
Yeah, it's just not enough, man. He needs to be more consistent.
Yeah, so I put that link out there for Hardwood Heroics. Check out our articles. Jesse's on there. I'm on there. There's
Yep.
probably a bunch of other articles on there. There's college basketball. There's NBA. There's any team you want. Just look it up on the tabs there. And our podcast is on YouTube. Just look up Sports Heroics right there. What else you got going? You got a Twitter, right? If anyone wants to follow you on Twitter.
Yep. At Jack Skellington 23, JaxKellington 23.
Follow them up. We'll probably be back sometime this weekend. Talk about hopefully a Wolves series win, but you
Yep.
never know. If we're talking in Game 7 Friday or Saturday, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, you're gonna be nervous.
I hope we're talking about a wrap up of the series, but you never know. I think the Lakers will win on Wednesday, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Wolves did.
I mean, if the Lakers get their asses kicked, I'll probably forget what happened, by Saturday. So it's not even worth talking about at that point.
You got any whiskey ready for if they lose?
Plenty.
There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
Is there any
It's gonna be a rough one.
college stuff that we need to talk about?
To be honest, I haven't really been paying attention to college stuff at all.
Gilbert Arenas' son was hurt in a car crash. The old legend
Yeah.
Gilbert Arenas. He's out now. I guess he's doing better, but he was in a coma for a while.
Got medically induced coma for smoke inhalation, but he's doing a
Yeah.
lot better now. Yep.
And he's on USC, so hopefully he comes back and gets to play.
Yeah.
Not much more. Jimmer Fredette is going to U.S. Men Hoops director. He is retired from basketball now, finally. The Jimmer Fredette sensation. What did you think about that?
It was interesting. I just remember them making fun of him because, he went to BYU. That's all I remember about him.
He put up 50 in the overseas games and the G League, come to the NBA and get sent back down, score 50 again with 12 threes. He is finally retired. I never thought that day would. He's another guy I never thought would ever quit basketball.
Best cheerleader ever.
Him and Jahlil Okafor's in the G League too. Remember him?
Not really, no.
He was on that Duke team.
Oh,
They
okay.
won it with Tyus Jones.
Oh, okay.
He's a big ogre. He quit for a couple years. He's got injured. Now he came back and was up for G League Player of the Year or something like that. I mean, what does that even mean? G League Player of the Year, would you want that award? Is that a good award, you think, or what?
They're gonna name it the Bronny Award soon.
Maybe the Bryce Award. What do you think?
No, it's gonna be the Bronny Award after this year. Watch.
I like Bryce James. I think he's going to be a good player.
I think so too.
Obviously, he was better in high school than Bronny,
Yeah.
but I don't know. We'll probably take off here, and thanks for switching your schedule around for me.
Of course, no problem at all. Thanks for having me on again.
We'll head out. Remember, go follow that Sports Heroic on YouTube and rewatch it and let us know what you guys think. And everybody have
Yep,
a great
yep.
night.
See ya.